Here is the blueprint of our innovation library. And I divide it into two phases, but in each phase, there are three sub-phases. As you can see, we have to get started with this spark about this, having this curiosity, what exactly this, technology is, what technology, what are the trending technologies, all these things. So little sparks of, technologies I bring into the school students and the administrators. And then, of course, no, it's not about just showing how to use the Google Drive or how to use an iPad or how to use a Chromebook or any of those things, but you have to have some sort of space. So we decided to define a space for us to bring in these technologies. So within that space, a physical space, a library space, we started to, include the new technologies like augmented reality, books, props, iPads and stuff, and then virtual reality, the headsets and apps and all the things, and then 3D printers. So what we did was within that innovation library space, it was like a mini technology conference. So all the apps, all the technologies, equipment, hardware equipment, and software are in each station. So that's how we define the space. We have all these, different stations. And of course, we have a theme within that library because it is a place that they come into constantly. And I wanted the motivation. I wanted them to constantly remind them that we allow you to innovate. Come with your curiosities and see. So that's the reason I call it Innovate Beyond Limits, and there is a theme in there. And then there came this phase two. Within that phase two, we have to, all these things are fun, fancy, but you got to have money. So the funding comes in, and so we have to figure out where are we going to get the funding. Sorry about that. Where are we going to get the funding? What type of fundings and what type of fundings can be used for what type of programs? Those of you who may not know, I work for the adult education, so fundings is very limited, and then not like K-12. So this type of funding, especially, we have two major fundings. WIOA funding, that's from the state, and the Perkins, that's from the federal. So we really have to align what type of fundings will go for what programs. And then, of course, the funding is here, the equipment is here, but we really have to, have the buy-in from the students and the teachers or the the users. The staff. We have to encourage the students and the staff, to come in, to check out with the low pressure, So what I did was I give them a little demo, a small, short, tiny experience like that. So that way I get a little curiosities and buy-in. Then, of course, later on, I started to introduce the new technology, with different series, with different teachers, or a pilot program and all. Here it is. This is mainly what I just said. As in our, when we mention the word library, usually we think of, okay, we got books and all, right? Same thing. If you notice on the bottom, our innovation library has these stations, AR books and apps. So the technology, augmented reality right now, usually is for K-12 or maybe higher ed, but adult ed teachers and students, we get left out. So I really wanted to bring these type of technologies for these students. That was the reason, we have these stations. And of course, we have 3D printers and laser engravers because we have CTE programs, career technical education programs for our adult ed students. So we got to have these type of technologies for them, not only the medical assistant students or pharmacy tech students, but we do have different types of programs in here. So those come in handy. And of course, we have the younger generation immigrants joining our adult ed. So that means these kids, even though they come from different parts of the world, but they know about the video games and all. So we wanted to bring in the esports games along with the education and all. So that's what we have. in our innovation library. And then, of course, the vision. Here is we gotta have a vision. The vision cannot come from me alone. It has to come from the administrators and the districts. So we have this vision. The vision is to empower them. We gotta give them something, not only just teach and teach and teach. Because if you don't only teach in books, but you don't really know and never use it, and they will never know. So due to that reason, we provide hands-on personalized learning, with these real-world technology equipment and hardware and whatnot. And of course, here is the key: create low pressure setting, because our students are here to learn English. Not some students may here for English. Some students are here for the academic program. Some are for the career technical education program. But if you pressure them, they will, shy away from it. So due to that reason, I constantly create low pressure setting for the students. And of course, I have to remind them, because they come with this doubts in their mind that, no, it's not for me. This technology is too high for me. It is not for me. So I wanted to constantly remind them it is not for other people. It's for you as well. So that's what it is. The space is built to help adult learners move forward with greater independence, education, and career success, as I mentioned in here. I mentioned augmented reality books and apps. Every single one of them, either books or apps, they were curated by me. As you notice, the way I speak, I was an immigrant ESL student, and I used to concern about the way I talk and all. But then I said, no, if whatever the way I talk and all, is what the students are also going through. So due to that reason, I said, I need to know what exactly that I am going to share with them. So in order for me to do that, I have to curate each and every one of them. So that way I can communicate with these students why I'm giving them, why I'm sharing with them, or with the teachers, that is the reason. Every single app, even every single prop books are all curated by me. And of course, this is very important. We provide 3 different programs here: ESL, academic, and CTE program. So these students, the augmented reality or virtual reality or any other technologies that we have, they have to align with these programs. So of course, I have my colleagues, my administrators. They come in, help me with what to choose and how to choose and all. In here, engagement begins with empathy and simple invitation. When this space first opened, I knew I couldn't just tell people, come use this technology. I have to show that some instructors were curious, some were overwhelmed, some were like honestly nervous. And especially if technology was in their comfort zone. So I started small. Instead of making like big announcements and requirements that you have to attend this or that, I usually go to have a quick quiet conversation with each teacher or each group of teachers. I usually tell them, hey, I came across something your students might like. You want to take a quick look, things like that, or please come by the at this workshop or the space. When I do this, they start to feel like, okay, they feel respected. Basically, they felt safe to say yes, and that's how they do that. Over time, the trust made the difference. The teachers started bringing their classes to the library, and students started asking questions, and the space, that innovation library space, became part of the school culture. Not because it was required, but because it felt welcoming. And that's something that I needed to do, and I always pay attention to. And I mentioned the buy-in in the beginning of it. Buying is not taught. This space in this library, it doesn't come from explanations or training sessions. It comes from watching students engage. The teachers have to watch these students that they are engaging. And so in our adult education, engagement is usually structured. Either I visit classrooms or teachers bring their classes into the library. At first, many instructors simply observe. They're curious, but they're cautious because the technology that I'm bringing are very new, to them. But something shifts. They start to see students quietly leaning in. They hear someone trying a new word, while holding on an AR app. Prop with their iPad, and this, the teachers start to hear the laughter and questions and real interactions happening naturally. So that's when the questions start. Not because I am asking for buy-in, but because they are seeing it happen. Their students are using it. So then they start to ask questions like, wait, what was it? Or, is it hard to use? Could I try with my, class sometime, or this or that? These questions are being asked. That is when I realize that buy-in really begins, when it only begins when the engagement is visible and the impact speaks for itself. That's when the buy-in happens. Oops. Sorry, it went back. My click didn't go through. There you go. We did the piloting with the students. I actually had 4 categories of piloting that I did with the ESL students, and we only focus especially with the augmented reality related books, and a few of the names are included in here. And then we have every summer we have IET program. We use ESL higher level ESL students, combined with the CTE related courses like medical assistant or pharmacy, short courses. The students have this particular program called IET, integrated education program. And so we use that. And then again here, every summer, I teach a technology basics class, means teaching the students how to use their cell phone, just basic digital literacy. But what I decided to do the last year was that teaching them how to use technology from each station, and they become the ambassadors. So they become the ambassadors. So when they finish with this summer program, they go to different classes, and then they say, come on, let's go to this library. I have this and I have that. So they start to share. So that's how I, make them do become the little ambassadors, because I cannot do it all these things by myself. But of course, we have virtual reality and a few other augmented reality apps that are seriously great for the CTE medical assistant students. So that also I did that. So those were the 4 different types of piloting programs that I did for the last 1 whole year now. And the pilot programs that we did proved that even short experiences can spark confidence and open new ways of learning. And because these short experiences are low pressure, right? So they change how students show up. They showed up, and they show up to classes, or to the library, and they become more curious, and they started talking about it, asking questions, and wanting more and more. So most of these students, it is their first time using the tools, all these tools that augmented reality and virtual reality. They cannot afford to purchase them. So we give these access, right? And then in a guided, supportive way, and to help build their confidence. But what stood out most was what happened afterward. The students didn't treat it as one-time activity. Augmented reality and virtual reality is a wow and oh wow, all these things. No, wow and wow only. It's just they keep showing up. What else is there? Well, how I can learn, so they don't treat it as one-time activity. That is what more important, because if it is one-time activity, we just wasted, months and months and years of work. Keep exploring. And that is something that I am always instilling in their mind. In a few ESL classes, hesitant students would lean in. They repeat new terms out loud. The moment didn't need a big rollout or long session, just short small, experience sessions. And the small spark was enough to show me we were moving in the right direction. That's how I see it, But of course, we show these technologies and everything, but we really have to, take care of their sustainability. It means keeping that vision alive, not just the lights on. One day I was wiping down a headset after a class, nothing fancy, just cleaning lenses before the next group came in. And the moment stuck with me because this project isn't about grand launches or constant upgrades. It's about showing up consistently, resetting the space, adjusting plans when a class can only stay for 10 minutes or 20 minutes, reusing tools in a different ways when schedules change, right? Some weeks are busy, some are quiet, sometimes a class comes regularly, sometimes they disappear for a while because life happens for them, for our adult students, So sustainability for me looks like staying flexible. It looks like adapting instead of forcing a plan. It looks like continuing to share what we already have, even in small moments. That's how the vision stays alive, not by adding more and more technology, but by caring for what already exists. This library project was never just about devices. It was about access, motivation, lifelong learning. The library provides our learners with meaningful exposure to these technologies in a supportive, guided environment. I use the word guided a lot. I'm sure you noticed that. It's because it's very much important. We cannot just leave them. So when you guide them, it's all structured. So they are they're willing to come back. So it reinforces a simple message. You, the adult learners, belong here. Your learning matters. You are part of what comes next. That's those are the messages. When our learners use these tools, the impact goes beyond the classroom. In one session, students explored an AR app called Catchy Words, and then a few other books that we have. And the tools were simple, visual, and easy to access. But afterwards, what happened was a few students asked, can we borrow the AR books? Can I use this? How can I download this app? I want to use with my children, or I want to show my nephew. That's the moment that I wanted that, right? It showed that learning didn't end because class has ended. It carried into homes, families, and everyday life. That's how our learners, adult learners, become role models, not by teaching lessons, but by continuing to learn themselves.